Residents in Calgary are at risk of running out of water if consumption isn't reduced. There was a water main break of a major feeder line in the northwest of the city, and that line is responsible for serving more than 1 million customers. Crews are working around the clock to fix it, but in the meantime, Calgarians are being asked to conserve water. The CBC's Colleen Underwood has more from the scene of the break.
Well, this morning there was another update, and the city said, Calgarians are doing a good job of cutting back, but they say it's not enough. They're still looking for another 25% from Calgarians. They said during the day yesterday, consumption went down, but as people returned home from work and into the evening, consumption spiked. So much so that they couldn't keep up with the demand. And they said that at that rate, they were at risk of running out.
Yesterday, we saw significant reduction in water use up until the afternoon. Unfortunately, as the evening went on and water use increased, this happened around the time that people came home from work. This took us back to a situation where we were using more water than we can produce. This trend cannot continue for us. If we do not reduce our water use, we are at risk of running out.
So once again, the city is asking, people to flush their toilet less often, put their dishes aside, hold off on laundry, eliminate or at least limit the number of showers they're taking. And it also means absolutely no outdoor watering. Those are absolute no-nos. Businesses are being asked to limit their use to essential needs, and for its part, the city has shut down pools and arenas and says that they're also limiting their use when they can.
Okay, so a further 25% reduction in a bunch of different ways or areas where you could be cutting back. How are Calgarians responding to this?
Well, those we spoke to said they are doing what they can already, but they were understanding about the request.
Just doing all the things they say, like no longer than a 5-minute shower, waiting to do the dishes till I have enough so I'm not running extra water when I need to. So far, other than losing our pressure when it initially happened, it's not really affected me. It's just made me more thoughtful about exactly how I'm using my water.
People have to think of the community more than they think of themselves right now. We've got a big problem to solve. That's how we're going to do it. You got to think of the community before you think of yourself right now.
So aside from the water restrictions, the community of Bowness, which is behind me, behind the construction here, is still under a boil water advisory. Water stations have been brought into the community so that people can fill up their water bottles if they need to. There's also still a fire ban in place across the city. That's, of course, to make sure that the city isn't stressing its water resources any more than it needs to. And so far, the city says it's had a few dozen calls of complaints from people saying that others are not heeding the restrictions or the fire ban. But in their defense, the city says when spoken to, it turns out people just weren't understanding the rules rather than disobeying them.
Colleen, when it comes to the water main break, what is the latest in terms of isolating that and the repairs?
Well, as we already know now, this is not your typical water main break. This pipe is huge. In some places, it's 2 meters wide. And it serves about 1 million people. So many are waiting on these repairs. We're told that crews right now are draining a huge excavation hole, trying to get access to the pipe. And that way they can find out the source of the problem. They need to see what the problem is before they can even determine how to fix it and how long that's going to take. So they still don't know that. We're expecting to find out the source later today. So that means that these water restrictions and advisories are going to be in place until further notice.
That's the CBC's Colleen Underwood in Calgary.